With everything you need to start your morning, this is Good Day Tampa Bay.
Journey through the court system, the other on trial for murdering one of his 4 wives. Of course, we're talking about James Holmes in court this week in Colorado, learning the charges he'll face in the movie theater massacre during the premiere of The Dark Knight Rises in Colorado. And we're also talking about a case going on in Joliet, Illinois, the trial of Drew Peterson, former police sergeant accused of killing one of his ex-wives. Off to a rocky start, almost ended in a mistrial. And so here with some legal perspective on both cases is our legal analyst, attorney Felix Vega.
Good morning, Kristen. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. All right, let's start out in Colorado. Prosecutors have filed 141 charges against James Holmes for that tragic shooting spree inside a movie theater of Colorado 2 weeks ago. Explain the breakdown of the charges and why so many.
Well, this was all 141 charges that they filed in their criminal complaint. They broke it down in 2 distinct ways. They charged 24 counts of first-degree murder for the actual victims that were killed. There's 2 theories that the prosecutors are operating under. One, that James Holmes premeditated to kill those individuals, and 2, it's a Colorado law called extreme indifference to human life, in which they also can charge first-degree murder. It's very similar to second-degree murder here in Florida. The 58 counts come from the victims that were almost killed within the movie theater, again, doubling up on those with the 2 different theories. The 141st count was most interesting because that's the actual count for the explosive-laden apartment that James Holmes left behind. And so prosecutors are looking at premeditation on 2 different fronts. One was his intent to hopefully blow up the apartment, divert law enforcement and fire rescue over there while he went up and shot up the theater, because it was interesting after he was caught, he told the police about the apartment that it was booby-trapped. We heard from the young lady that was the neighbor. She almost went into the apartment before the shooting happened and could have set off the bomb and blown up the apartment. So they're looking at the total circumstances that we have in the case between the apartment and also what happened in the theater. So very sharp theories that they're using and very sharp prosecuting on their part.
And we learned that Holmes was seeing a psychiatrist on campus, so there's been a lot of talk about what those psychiatrists may have known about his mental state before he allegedly went in on this killing spree. And so questions are surfacing as to whether, you know, all this could have been prevented.
Avoided, right.
Yeah, but looking back at Virginia Tech in 07 and other cases, is there one clear answer on this issue?
The simple answer is no. And we've gotten into this before with, like you said, Virginia Tech in 2007, also going back to Columbine in 1999. But there was actually a case that started this whole debate over psychotherapist, student, patient privileges on college campuses. And it goes back to 1969 when a young woman named Tatiana Tarasoff was actually killed at the University of California at Berkeley. Her boyfriend, who was accused of killing her, actually went to his psychiatrist on campus, and he was the one that told the doctor that he was planning on killing Tatiana Tarasoff. The doctor, in turn, sent a letter to campus police and campus officials, what's commonly known as a Tarasoff letter in the legal system, warning them of what happened. And the California Supreme Court said that that was the only duty that the school had, was to warn authorities if there was an imminent threat. Now, you take that out of context. In this case in particular, we set up these threat teams that assess possible people like James Holmes, like the Vodtech shooter in 2007. They created those in 2010. So there's a big debate going on between whether it's a privileged communication between the therapist and the student, or they have this duty to warn, like we saw in the Tarasoff case.
All right, and we don't know exactly what Holmes said to the psychiatrist.
Exactly. We might see that come out in the discovery process. We don't know yet, though.
And very quickly, Drew Peterson in Illinois. This has been under investigation since 2004, finally going to trial. He's being tried for the death of his 3rd wife, Kathleen Savio. Take us back very quickly through how this all unfolded.
Unusual. 2004 is when Kathleen Savio was discovered dead. Drew Peterson has maintained all along that she died in a drowning in her tub. It wasn't until 2007 when his 4th wife, Stacy, went missing. That's when they went back and investigated Kathleen Savio's death. It was later determined it was a homicide. He's standing trial for her death this week. He wasn't indicted until 2009. The problems prosecutors have now, they're trying to admit a lot of evidence. It's hearsay evidence, statements by his neighbors that he intimidated Kathleen Savio for some period of time. Also, her sister testified this week about an incident, a run-in that he had with her after she was discovered dead. She said that he was talking about some blood possibly in the house. He didn't want the kids to see that. She countered with, well, why is there blood if she supposedly drowned? But again, prosecutors are on a tightrope because they're trying to admit all of this evidence, basically statements. There's no body. There's no other evidence that they have in this case other than the body of Kathleen Savio and their theory of prosecution. And also possibly we may hear statements from Stacey Peterson, the missing fourth wife, again getting into these privileged communications between her and her minister about her relationship with Drew Peterson. So very, very interesting issues in that case. Reads almost like a law school exam at this point, so it'll be interesting to see if prosecutors can pull it out in the end.
It'll be very interesting. Thank you so much, Attorney
Always a pleasure,
Felix+vega,
Kristen. Thanks.
for being back with us. All right, we're going to turn things over to Andy now, who has a look at weather. Hi.
Hi, Kristen. Good morning, everyone. I have some new information that depression in the eastern